Okay, welcome to Hummingbird Planning. Going to present mode. So let me know if you have any trouble seeing the slides. Okay, so some logistics, just please mute your line if you're not talking so that we don't get echoes. As I mentioned, we're going to record this call. The agenda is going to be just going through the goals of this session. Then we'll talk about the Hummingbird schedule, and then we'll have each of the contributors go through their slides. Okay, goals: to review the community plans for Hummingbird and also the I releases, so the next 6 months of planning. Hummingbird coming out in August and the I release scheduled for November. An important part of this meeting is to help people with shared interests connect so that they can work together. It's also used to plan for dependencies and understanding the integration load. Hopefully that load never becomes much towards the end of the release, because we want everybody to be working off master and be contributing early and often. Basically getting everyone on the same page and providing context for sprint planning for those of us who are running an agile process. Schedule for Hummingbird is we will have 3 sprints, 2 3-week and 1 2-week, which brings us to August 12th. And through August 12th, we're happy to have people integrating their features, functions. After August 12th, that will no longer be the case. So we'll be declaring feature and integration complete by that date. And the week after that is when we start the release candidate build process. And we'll go through some number of release candidates to the point where we are able to tag one as the release. And the goal is that around Labor Day, we have a Hummingbird branch. Okay.
One small comment, Bill.
Yes.
So something we did starting with GoldenEye is actually probably around the time of the first release candidate, cut the support branch, because we found that as the contribution load for features is increased, we didn't want to actually hold up master for an extended period of time during the RC process.
Yep.
So we'll probably actually cut the support branch a bit earlier than the second, and then the release candidate process will occur over there.
Okay, great. Makes sense. Feel free to update that slide. So when you go through it again later today, it'll be correct.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks. Matteo, are you online? Okay. So we'll skip Matteo and move on to MCord. And who has put the slide in for MCord? Sandy, do you know who put this in?
But I can walk through this in case Tom is not online. Tom, are you there? Okay.
Sandhya.
Yeah.
So let me introduce Sandhya, since you're going to go through this slide. So Sandhya is from Verizon, and Sandhya has been helping me with the release planning and release processes. And so she'll be helping us go through the presentation later today for the parts of the world where this is not a good time zone, good time to be on the call. All right, go ahead, Sandhya.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, MCord network slicing effort is in progress, and I think Murat will be talking about the RAN slicing part and the OS extensions and that are being done. That will be later. And we are also trying to make a MCord light version, so a kind of a low-cost version that we can easily take around to kind of demo it and help other people evaluate the concepts we are trying out in MCORD. And there is also work on MCORD Rack 2, and that hopefully will be up somewhere in one of the collaborator partner locations. And last is we are also evaluating Cortez as one of the EPC vendors so that we can continue work in the network slice area.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, Thomas.
Okay. 1 second, let me, where are we trying to look for? Oh, there we go. So I just placed this slide in here just to act as a background, sort of a theme for the various different areas. These architectural runway items have actually been sort of on our radar, and we've been tracking them since Falcon already, after having a meeting with the team as well as with Guru to kind of establish the long-term items on which we should be making investments and progress. And so these are represented in the various slides that we will be discussing further down the road, with primary emphasis being placed on the first three, two of which are currently already in progress. And the third one, the intent service, is something that we're intending to essentially resurrect our investment in. There will be also small investments to prepare progress in the other areas, specifically gRPC, as well as the in-service rolling upgrades, which are predicated on having portable serialization within a cluster. And so this is just kind of a high-level list of themes and priorities that we should be keeping an eye kind of in a distance and start to make, because they're long poles, and start making investments, making sure that we make strides towards those long-term goals.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Thank you very much. Okay. Patrick, are you going to be covering this?
Hi, Bill. So I think the Indian team will cover this afternoon, but there was okay. I can give some quick update. So
hello.
Let me.
Patrick.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Patrick, this is Gaurav here.
Hi, Gaurav. I didn't see your name. Okay. Please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you wanted to continue, or shall I?
No. Please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, fine. So in Hummingbird release, we are planning for the Yang utils completion and the YMS framework. So what are the proposed deliverables for Hummingbird are like these. The first priority is to automate the XML codec for netconf interaction with the device. So this will be our first priority to complete in the Hummingbird release. The second priority what we have is like there were some of the suggestions what we received during our last demo. So we wanted to incorporate those changes in our Yang utils. So basically we will be doing the SBI device schema. We will be finishing off the pending Yang constructs, and we will be providing a framework wherein the application can override the generated default implementations. So these are some of the things related to the Yang utils, which will be in continuation of the work what we have done in the GoldenEye release. And another thing which we'll be taking up is to automate the JSON codec for NBI interaction. This will be less priority as compared to the XML codec, but since the YMS framework is common, we feel like we will be able to complete this also as a part of Hummingbird deliverable. So now moving on to the I release. The first thing what we wanted to take up, like we even wanted to discuss this with Andrea, is to have netconf enhancement to support some of the netconf protocol gaps, wherein like we wanted to extend netconf to support device notification and device capability based infection. So, but this is something which we wanted to discuss with Andrea and then decide on. And then the tasks which are planned are like we wanted to extend upgrade Yang utils to support Yang 1.1 version. So as of now, the Yang utils are based on Yang 1.0 version. In iRelease, we wanted to upgrade it to Yang 1.1 version. And another task what we'll be taking up is to automate the network to device model. So as a part of Hummingbird release, as we know, there is an abstract network model. The different devices will have different device model. So network to device model will be like the mapping will be manual, but in the iRelease, we even intend to have this network device to device model mapping also automated. The user just need to provide a mapping file, and the mapping of network to device model will be done. So these are the plans for the Yang.
Okay. Very good.
So the Bill,
Yep.
Bill, this is Patrick. Can I add a few more things here?
Please.
Okay, so the number one is I know the Yang now catch a lot of attentions from the community perspective. So I created the wikis that collect the requirements. So that if you have any requirement to this Yang tools or the Yang shells or the YMS, it's a Yang management, the structures, all those things, you can go to the wiki to put your requirement there. We're going to consolidate that, prioritize the task. Then here's the number one. The number two is the because the Yang model is the community things, so we want the hold the meetings from the beginning to from the design phase to the testings, the integrations, all these things. So we are going to have a start. We are going to have a bi-weekly meeting. We are going to send out the invitations. So here is the two more things I want to add. If you have any suggestions how to run this project, please send us your requirement and suggestions. That's it.
Okay, great. Thank you, and Gaurav, thank you for being online to do this. Okay, Thomas.
Yes. Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yep.
I mean,
I can't see you, but I can see your slide.
I mean, okay. Network that I just saw the slide change, so that's why I didn't pick up what was going on. Network virtualization being one of the in progress roadmap items, it will continue work. But what we wanted to do is, despite the fact that we did have a number of TST meetings on this subject where we I'm not sure what happened on this slide. I think you may need to refresh, Bill. Okay. Would you mind refreshing the page?
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Even though we have that sort of been decided, we want to still produce a set of draft documents describing the overall design and overall approach of the work that has been done thus far, and we will open it up as a basically both to inform the community as well as to solicit feedback and input from the community on this approach. Now, we intend to continue to work on the intent-based implementation, and the goal is to finish the implementation of the intent service specific to the virtual network, to each virtual network that can be used to program each virtual network. And that will finish the first phase of the virtual network project. And then we will work with partners such as Huawei or whoever's interested to explore alternate virtual network providers that can be built using some other tunneling technologies rather than using intent service. And presently, the CNI is leading the majority of the coding effort with our guidance.
Okay.
Question to Thomas. This is Patrick. So, do you have a wiki or the document to talk about this?
So there is a detailed virtual network presentation from the most recent TST meeting. I think from several, from 2 months back, and that's all we have right now. So we need to actually produce some sort of a paper and draft document that describes this kind of in a more narrative form. And there is also a recording of the TST meeting where we discussed this question and answers.
Okay.
Patrick, it sounds like you may be wondering how to best kind of watch what's happening with this project, how to get more information on it.
Yes, yes. Actually, like Thomas pointed out, the Huawei side, we are working on the ACTNs, which is built the VN network, the modules, so the providers. So they probably have some collaborations with these ones, or we want to know the details how the current implementation is. So it's better to create the network of virtualization is a very important features. Probably we need some wikis to publish all these informations.
So presently you can. I mean, I don't want to get too off track here. So presently there is a presentation and a recording of the discussion around the subject, which documents the approaches that are considered and the approach that was chosen. And there is code and there is Java documentation that can be currently used. You can expect it to figure out what the current approach is in detail level. Clearly, there's a gap in terms of providing some sort of a mid-level design document, and then the draft document that's first bullet on here will attempt to cover that gap.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk together and with Brian and figure out some ways to kind of get a pulse that other members of the community can use to help coordinate with this project. But we can discuss that offline.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thanks.
I hear somebody trying to log in. So, Mateo, are you now online?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I'll jump back to your slides if you'd like.
Okay, if you want. So, Icona is an inter-cluster ONOS network application. You can have some information on the wiki, and there's some code available on Gerrit that is under review right now. It's an application on the ONOS app samples. 3 companies are involved: CreateNet and Polytechnic of Turin and the Tata Consultancy Services. The main idea is to interconnect several ONOS clusters that can belong to the same domain or to different domains via a peer-to-peer approach, allowing also network to expose to other domains an abstraction of the network that goes to a single big switch to a subset of the physical network, and to define policies. So, for example, the number of flows that an external domain can configure in my domain, the type of flows, and so on. The idea is to detach this Icona provider to let it work with multiple drivers. Right now, we are working with an extended version of a Quagga BGP. So we have a BGP peering between the different domains, and also through Quagga, we are sharing this Icona information, topology information, intent information, and so on, But the idea is like to have also other southbound drivers as soon as we decide to move to other drivers if we would like. So if you can move, you can go to the next slide. Thank you.
Okay.
And the current status is that, so in the code that you find on Gerrit, there's the configuration file for the topology. So we can, through a configuration file, we can define the topology that we want to expose per each domain. And you can configure the external domain that you want to connect to. And per each domain, you can configure the topology that you want to expose and the policies. So the topology and the domains, the external peering is already done. We are currently working on the policies configuration. The southbound provider API is already there, is already on Gerrit. And also the Tata Consultancy Services is working to extend the BGP. And right now we have defined the API between ONOS and this BGP peer. So the implementation has been delayed from the previous idea, but we spent some time in defining the model, in defining the policies, in defining the APIs, just to be sure that the design is like consistent with the current ONOS southbound implementation, like provider and so on. So the main deliverable that I want to have for the next release is that I want to have a complete software release available in the ONOS app sample by the end of the next phase. Because right now the application is only partially working. Obviously, it needs some coding, still some coding. And but in a couple of months, I would like to have everything working as an initial release. Okay, that's all from my side.
Okay. Thanks for making the effort to join in today.
Welcome.
Okay, Brian.
Cool. So to kind of get back on the architectural runway items, one of the things that we've been talking about for a number of releases is the intent domain subsystem, or sort of intent framework 2.0. One of the big things that we've realized is there are a number of people in the community that are interested, but we haven't yet done a great job making a lot of documentation about the approach or subsystem available. So that's going to be a top priority for Hummingbird in this area. Also, we'd like to solicit feedback and input from the community on some of the use cases and on the design and approach. There's also been some code that's been incubating in the incubation area of the code base for a while. We'd like to resurrect that and continue to prototype in that area sort of through the process of Hummingbird. So that takes us through the end of Hummingbird. I guess the real work, or rubber meets the road, hopefully in the I release. We'd like to implement the framework for introducing new domain controllers, implement a southbound such that the intent framework can work for in a hierarchical or federated manner, and then also demonstrate at least one, hopefully more, domain controllers so that we can start to evaluate the functionality and performance of the system. As far as where we'd like community help, definitely through Hummingbird. Would love feedback and input. If you'd like to participate in sort of helping to write the requirements, that would be great as well. And then, in starting in Hummingbird and continuing through the I release, if there are community members that are interested in the implementation side, or have a specific use case that they want to see built with or on intent domains, please reach out to us.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Brian. Hey, Martin? Do we have a Martin? Let's see. Yes, we do.
Hello.
Oh, okay. I can kind of hear you. You're kind of low.
How about now?
It's very low for me. How about other people?
You're a 1 out of 10, Madan.
Um, can you guys hear me now? Is it better?
It's getting a
Maybe.
little bit better, but
Okay. Maybe
still
I should
faint.
keep talking.
Keep going.
Okay. So so the main theme. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, go on.
Am I still audible?
Yep.
Okay. So the main themes in Hummingbird and also in the iRelease, the idea is to sort of elaborate on things that Thomas already covered in his architectural runaway slide. So the theme here is better support for running off-platform applications, and a couple of things that we would like to do to help that is one thing that is currently in progress. This is being done in collaboration with Calyx, which is Kafka integration. I would like to see this feature supported and be part of the Hummingbird release. And the other item here is gRPC integration. Again, there is overlap here with things that Brian and others might cover on the northbound side. But the idea is that whatever support the distributed core needs for this kind of feature, that is what will be covered as part of the Hummingbird release. And going into iRelease, again, I expect the gRPC integration to complete as part of iRelease. At least that is the tentative plan. And also support for in-service rolling up upgrades is something that we will tackle in iRelease as well. So we expect that the work that we do for gRPC integration and like potentially evaluating Google protocol buffs and all of that will be useful when we tackle the rolling service upgrades featured in iRelease. And finally, I included a item for adding more developer tooling for debugging and things like that. We can never have enough of these tools, so I think it's any additional tools that help developer productivity are good. So those are things that we might also tackle in iRelease. I added a few items that where community might step in and help. Again, gRPC, anyone who has done prior work on gRPC or any of these tools, um, there are areas where you can contribute. One of the things that we need for rolling upgrades is ability to do portable serialization. So anyone has ideas on how to do that for our existing cryo framework, again, that's an area where you can help. And I know we can never do enough testing on the distributed core. So anyone who wants to do stress testing, anyone who wants to help identify bottlenecks in our state management, in our event delivery, or any of these things, feel free to step in and provide help. An example here I would like to highlight is the work that Murat's team has done in the last release, where they were able to do some stress testing to identify, when the topology subsystem breaks, and they were able to identify and fix some bottlenecks in the link store subsystem. So, that's an example where if you have a use case where you can run some stress testing, that will greatly help the stability of the system. And finally, some people have asked about running ONOS on two instances, even though that is not sort of the ideal setup with our current architecture. If anyone wants to tackle this, feel free to step in and help. So that's the stuff I wanted to cover on core.
It's really great that you added the areas for community help. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Looks like is this slide a mistake, Brian, or is this?
Well, so actually, it's funny. Madan and I built these two slides in parallel without talking to each other. So I'll just quickly go through the differences. Um, once the gRPC stuff happens for off-platform stuff, the highlight here from an application perspective is the ability to do in-service upgrades for not just the core, but also for applications, and also to have a little bit of latitude for applications that aren't quite using the exact version that the platform is running. That's a fairly big pain point today. You've got to build your application against the exact version of the API that you're running, sometimes down to the snapshot. The other thing to consider here is leveraging a more uniform modeling or auto-generation approach for some of our API objects, and then also improve mechanisms for the registration and access control for off-platform apps. So again, a lot of this is predicated on gRPC-based APIs, portable serialization, but this specific slide was specifically about how we can improve the off-platform application experience. And I will work with Madan today to consolidate these bullet items so that they're not repeated.
Great. Well, glad you guys are in synchronicity. Okay, Show.
Hi, this is Show. The area proposed Hummingbird deliverables, the first priority is to improve the performance to resolve the performance issues we are currently seeing in the resource service API. In the GoldenEye release, I was working on the performance improvements, but we still have performance issues. So I will tackle these issues. To the modification, make the modifications to make the modification safe. The unit test or service level test is important thing to performance improvement safe. So at this time, the test coverage for the resource service is not so good, so I will improve the test coverage for the resource service. And of course, the benchmarking or statistical numerical result for the typical workload for the API is also important for important. So I'm planning to building micro benchmarking for the resource service API. It is probably used by JMH framework, which is an OpenJDK micro benchmark framework, will be used in the micro benchmarking for resource services. Going to iRelease, currently I don't have particular items for the improvement, but if there will be more performance improvements. So I will tackle that in the iRelease. The areas where we'd like to community help is building an environment to measure and display the benchmarking result continuously. It's more like a CI infrastructure for the benchmark results. That's all my side. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Show. Okay, Simon.
Yeah, hi. Hopefully you can hear me.
You're a little bit low as well.
Oh, okay. I can project into the microphone. No, okay. So basically, we're going to get back to the upgrade to the topology view modeling. This is basically to model what we want the topology view to see on the server side, so that we can support multiple web browsers looking at the topology, but at different levels of zoom, if you like, because we're going to support the concept of regions and subregions and so on. And this basically requires an overhaul of the topology view mechanisms. This work is actually underway, but it kind of got shelved when we did the graphic design work for the UI. So we're basically going to take it off the shelf, dust it off a bit, and continue with that. One of the things that's come up in recent conversations is people have requested the idea of showing additional elements on the topology. For example, the pond topology, where you've got network elements that are not modeled by ONOS out of the box, and we want to make sure that we can support this. And so probably in the iRelease timeframe, we're going to make sure that the modeling that we do can be extended by applications, so that they can inject their own elements to augment the topology view and work with the region modeling that we're doing. In terms of community help, the next couple of slides will describe what we're doing, but basically the ONOS applications have metadata which can be made more useful, so we'll get back to that. And the other thing that I'd like to point out is that we do have bug bounties that are UI related, and I looked this morning and there were still 7 available. So if you want to go to the next slide. So just to point out in the UI, if we look at the applications view, almost all of the applications are currently just using a default icon, a default URL, and a description that's just based on the title. But if you go to the next slide, you'll see that for Path Painter, we actually put in a custom icon. We defined the URL to take the user to the documentation page for Path Painter, and also the description text is a little bit more informative. This basically is simply updating the app.xml files for an application and providing an app.png icon. This would be a fabulous way for the community to get involved, is to create a little bit more information, metadata about the applications that they're creating. So that's it.
Great. Maybe you need to have some prizes for great icons.
Oh, I guess I should say, I think we did have a document that was giving some guidelines on the icons. We will revise and update that based on the work that we've done with the graphic designer to make sure that the guidelines we provide kind of tie into the color palette that we came up with.
Okay, great. Thanks, Simon.
Sure.
Okay, Luca.
All right, deployments. Sorry, I have quite a lot of slides, but I promise I'll go quite quick through some of them. Okay, what's the big current deployment epic in my opinion? As an operator, I'd like to provide layer 2, layer 3, possibly layer 0 connectivity to my user using a multiple stack of applications. So on top of ONOS, including at least as the basic VPLS for layer 2, SDN IP for layer 3, and eventually packet optical, hopefully soon for layer 0. everyone would also like to virtualize their infrastructure, spawn resources at and introduce new services at the edge of the network, and have a kind of cloud orchestrator at the top of the network, which is very similar to what we are doing now in eCord, if not identical. Do network slicing, and do track translation and traffic encapsulation. Sorry. So this is good because it's covered by applications that we already have, which are packet optical, VPLS, SDN IP, and as I was saying, XOS, and in the specific case, I would say as a use case, eCord. Okay, and we can see this represented in the next slide. Can anyone? Okay, thanks. Okay, as you can see here, the stack should be hopefully more clear. Okay, so I don't have to add anything, I guess, above what I already said, if anyone doesn't have any question. So, does anyone have any question on this stack? Is it clear? Okay, I assume it is. So, next slides, please. Okay, I don't want to go through all the stories. This is not really the moment in the release planning, but this is to give you just pointers. They are all in Jira, already in order, already with story points, and I was saying in order of priorities. Okay, most of the stories are, these are the first group are the must-have. Second one is the should-have. There are some bugs, some lags, especially in the area of the intent framework, and yeah, and that's it. Next slide, please. Okay, and here I put, since we're talking about a 6-month time frame, I included also a set of stories that have, let's say, in the big picture, get a lower priority maybe, but at least in my mind would be part of the big picture. Talking about virtualization, I know it's not really what we are targeting at, but as I was saying, lots of people in the research network, and not only research network, are thinking to having applications, functions in the operating system to virtualize or slice their network. An important thing that is going, two important things are going on. There may be the possibility to help the help of Internet 2 in the area of virtualization to create also the new flow space firewall, which is the hypervisor basically that they use to do network slicing and virtualization in their network. Also, Corsa is doing important efforts in virtualization, and Corsa has been adopted by a bunch of people around the world. Now they're just introducing their devices virtualization capabilities into the devices, which are programmable through REST API. And there have been some initial discussion about collaboration of programming virtualization into their devices from a central point of view, which in this case would be ONOS. Just initial discussion, lower priority compared to other slides, but I thought it was important to mention this. Next slide, please. Okay, last but not least, I want to mention what are the activities blocked right now by the items on the first slide. Okay, so the good news is that everyone is looking for the same thing. The core here is really layer 2 plus layer 3 services running together coherently on top of ONOS. And I would say 99%, if not 100% of these people, which are in line for deployments, are really looking for this. Especially ESNet would really like a demo. We didn't really concretely say explicitly that they want to move from ENOS to ONOS, but they would be really excited to know more finally about this integration that we are doing. And this would bring to really many more activities with them. I conclude saying in the short period, 6 months, well, medium period of time, what I see is deployment on, assuming that we will be able to realize this in the intent framework. I would see deployments of these technologies on Internet 2, AM Light, bringing both of them in production/pre-production, and demo on ESNet. Once we conclude this, the other deployment tasks will go super easy. We already have the contacts, and through the experience we have done, I'm sure we'll be able to do very quickly all the others. That's it on from my side. Thank you.
Excellent. Very exciting. Okay, move on. Okay, Brian and Al.
I guess this slide is more of a loose collection of improvements surrounding kind of ensuring that ONOS continues to be a top-notch platform for developers. So the first thing was an initiative we started in GoldenEye, and that is transitioning from Maven to Buck for building out ONOS core features and the applications and providers that get bundled in ONOS. There's also a few initiatives on improving the standalone multi-instance development environment. Right now it's kind of been ad hoc and per user, but we have a couple of cool ways that people are using to do multi-instance development on their laptop. We'd like to kind of improve the documentation and make those options available in Hummingbird. We'd like to automate the process or further automate the process of our release verification. Currently it's a semi-automated process that still takes anywhere from an hour to 3 hours of human time, and also provide an initial infrastructure for doing regular minor releases. Think about doing a release of the snapshot bits that is more or less certified in an automated way on a 2 or 3 or 4 week basis to sort of supplement the major releases like Hummingbird and GoldenEye. We'd like to do some improvements for documentation at the module or subsystem level, and then there are some fixes to ONOS packaging that are needed to make it work offline, and also part of the packaging we should again reevaluate some of the craft defaults and settings and features that we have enabled. So that's for Hummingbird. Looking forward to the iRelease. We'd like to introduce a dependency and version tracking mechanisms for applications. Right now it's just based on a single app string. We'd like to see if we can provide community access to distributed ONOS testbeds, improve the ONOS out-of-the-box experience for both a single instance and a cluster. There's an ONOS developer CLI that Aldi and others have been talking about, and then also there are some ONOS startup time improvements that I think we could actually tackle. There's some low-hanging fruit and some not so low-hanging fruit. So again, this is a loose collection of improvements. Pretty much any and all are up for grabs, and if there are more improvements or things, we'd like to be tracking these sort of bugs, probably with a label in Jira going forward.
That's great. Thanks for putting these together. It's really important. We have a great environment for developers. Okay. All right, module owner program.
So the next slide's sort of a continuation of an effort that we've had for a little while now. The module owner plugin, we've had some really good success engaging people in the community to help with code review and sharing the burden of accepting code into the code base. So we'd like to implement some new features and also make some bug fixes to that plugin, which we use as part of our Garrett code review workflow. And we'd also like to continue to expand the program to include new reviewers. So that's over the summer. Looking forward, we'd like to upstream the module owner plugin that we've been developing to the community, and also continue to expand. So if there are any members of the community that are interested in code improvements, there are some bugs or features described in the new features link at the top of the slide. And if you have suggestions for people that should become module owners or how we can continue to improve the program, feel free to reach out to myself, Thomas, or David.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
And then finally, kind of in a continuation of the module owner thing, there are some sort of being good open source community citizenship citizens initiatives. So in the Hummingbird timeframe, we'd like to continue to upstream fixes to other projects. Currently, we have forks of all of these projects and actually a few more. These forks are typically meant to be temporary while we have sort of patches that are pending review in upstream projects or where we need to fork a project to release bits. We've done so, and what we'd really like to do is continue to try to drive these fixes upstream so that we can actually depend on the upstream projects more natively. That will reduce our burden around release time, and also help make sure that some of the fixes that we rely on are also getting maintained by their appropriate communities.
Somebody needs to mute.
I'd say.
So, okay. All right. Thanks, Brian. Okay, Murat. Let's see, is Murat online? Like not.
I don't see him.
Okay, let's see. That's Murat. Okay. Tianron? Let's see.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Is the sound good?
If you can get closer or speak louder, that would be helpful.
Okay. Is that okay right now?
Oh, that's much better.
Thank you. Okay. This Nemo language feature has been reviewed by the TST and agreed to work as an application project in ONOS. In this release planning meeting, we want to join the H release. We created the wiki to adjust the proposal. Nemo is a declarative service level programming language. With this project, we want to bring two features for ONOS. Firstly, it provides a set of intent-based language primitives to simplify the network programming. We can introduce automation for service deployment and inspire the network application innovation by easily composing various network services. And secondly, we can provide a platform-independent layer. Applications can be written once and run on any controller platform with Nemo engine. Nemo project is implemented in OpenDaylight Berlin release. We developed several use cases with partners from customers and operators. With this project, we hope those applications based on Nemo language can also run on ONOS. This is similar to Java. JVM build a platform-independent layer for different operating systems. For H release, the deliverable will be 3 parts. One is the Nemo editor. In Eclipse, we can implement it as an external application. It will provide functions like syntax check and autocomplete. It also encapsulates the
NeMo script into the REST API. And the other one is NeMo language engine. We can build it as a new internal application in ONOS platform. It passes the NeMo script and interact with the ONOS core and call the core API to execute network control. And it also interact with other applications around on ONOS. And in the NeMo engine, we will have three main components. The NeMo language compiler, it will interpret the NeMo language into model data, and the NeMo intent resolver, it will do service resolution and decomposition and deployment. And the application driver, it will adapt application-specific interfaces. And in actual release, the first use case we want to implement in ONOS is the VTM plus SFC. For example, user can create a group A and group B and the connection between these two groups for regular traffic. And we can then create a chain group as a container for several VNFs and redirect some traffic through the chain. And that's all from my side.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay. Iowa or Jung? Either online?
Yes, this is Iowa.
Okay, please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, so this is Iowa, and starting from the ONOS Hummingbird release, we're actually proposing to introduce the ACTM project, abstraction and control of traffic engineering networks. We use ACTM to introduce the capability to do a full hierarchical control of both IP and optical traffic engineering networks with standard interfaces. So ACTM is actually an IETF-defined standards, and it's in a fast track to become a standard RFCs. And under this ACTM utilizes standard IETF young models to and as well as standard PSAP protocols extensions to be the northbound interface and southbound interface. In ACTM, there are several building blocks to support full hierarchical control of the IT network. At the lowest layer is the physical network controller, which acts as a domain controller to each of the physical domains, whether it be an IPN or an optical domain. And then above the domain controllers, there's a still called multi-domain service coordinator, which coordinates topology and services provisioning across all the domains. So in between the domains, they use standard IETF models, RESTconf and YAM models, and as a model-driven interface, as well as PSAP as a binary protocol to do the retrieval and provisioning. The main advantage for ACTM to be in the ONOS is to first, it introduces a unified, consistent way to control both IP and optical networks, allowing to do a very efficient packet optical and practical packet optical solution. And second, it addresses scalability, enhances the scalability offering for ONOS with hierarchical control and full recursive controller highlight. And as for the planned deliverable in the Hummingbird release, we actually plan to focus on the topology management part for ACTN, and we would like to propose to introduce the topology ITF YAM model support for both the base T topology and network T topology, abstract T topologies, and to implement a multi-domain topology manager at the MDSC, the supercontroller level, as well as to support the basic topology abstractions at the domain controller level, so that the domain controller can interact with the supercontroller to expose an abstract view of the topology. And also in there, we use extensions on PCEP to PCEP-LS function to also support the exposure of the abstract topology. If you go to the next next slide, in the I release, we actually plan to use the support, full support for the tunnel provisioning parts of ACTN, which has ITF YAM models for tunnel provisioning in the supercontroller to introduce a multi-domain tunnel manager to do end-to-end tunnel provisioning across multiple domains. And associated with it is an enhanced PC function for to calculate and end-to-end tunnel across multiple domains, and also use PCEP extensions to support for virtual network functions above the ACTN controllers. At the physical network controller, the domain controller level, we introduce basic the abstract service mapper function to which allows a domain controller to accept and to provision a tunnel segments that it receives from the top level supercontroller. I think that's it.
Are we somebody muted, or we're waiting for John?
Is John online or not? If John is not online, I think I can talk about it.
Great, thanks you.
So for QA and in the H release, first we want to move the test job from Maven build to bug build for the master branch, and then for HA, we will continue the dynamic clustering and network partition testing and bug fixes. And for Cho, we want to enhance Cho tests for randomness and reproducibility. And also for functionality, we want to build the basic OpenFlow TTP test suite. And for performance, we would like to review and refactor performance tests. And also, of course, we'll also work on the selected long overdue performance and HA bugs, for example, the flow objective intent bugs and partition bugs. Next slide. And for longer term goals, first we want to investigate other controller performance
or benchmarking work, for example, the work from OpenDaylight or ON.Lab. And also, we want to build test cases for security mode, ONOS performance, and then also for OpenFlow 1.3 plus features. And finally, of course, we will build test cases for all the upcoming features, for example, intent domains, virtualization, or configuration, or rolling updates. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Yo. Okay. What about Mark? Is Mark online?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, we can. For packet optical and eCord, as you can tell, there's not a huge list of topics here. The reason really is that most of the activities is ongoing within the context of XOS or within the application, so it's not strictly related to the ONOS platform. But what I listed here is relevant for ONOS. So the first one is really a use case for, I think Patrick and others have discussed on the Yang toolset, the netconf Yang toolset, and it's one particular use case we want to support in for optical open ROADM, both device and network models. Second is a few, I call them tweaks, a few revisions or minor issues I want to support in optical for intents. The first one is a kind of rollback feature in that I want to be able to disable the restoration procedure. I want to have an all or nothing situation. Either the intent goes in completely or we roll it back completely. And the second thing is the protected paths. What it means is intent framework right now does restoration, so it sees a problem and it will try to restore the connectivity. While in optical, it's very common to, before you even provision, calculate a primary and a backup path. You set up your connectivity over the primary, and then you basically have the device itself autonomously detect a problem and switch over to the backup. So there's not that much, to be done within the intent framework, but I do need a few pieces added there. And then the third topic is really something that's already in progress. It's further slicing out of the optical model, so we have a nice and neat modularized optical package, and we keep the ONOS core completely free of any technology-specific implementations. And that's it.
And to avoid confusing, this is not related to slicing term that's used with the
No. Slice out means refactor is a better word.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Kostas?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so hi, I'm Kostas Stamos. I represent here Giant, which, as you probably know, has been testing and contributing to ONOS for the past several months. The areas we have been working and intend to continue working on are the three applications I have listed here. One is the SDX Layer 3 application, which is the wrapper around the SDN IP and has been added as an application in the ONOS app samples repository. What we intend to do with that in the next weeks is to test it with the Corsa driver that has been implemented by Michele Sensuari a while ago while he was over at ON.Lab. We also have been working on SDX Layer 2 application. This is currently halfway, let's say, or more than halfway merged within the ONOS subsamples, and we also intend to finish merging it in and also complete the related documentation in the wiki. And finally, the SDN BOD application, which we have described in the ONOS wiki. We currently are testing it locally it's quite large monolithic application at the moment, so it needs some refactoring. It needs to be better integrated and make use of relevant ONOS modules before we plan to submit parts of it for merging in the code base. So that sums up our planned contribution.
Great, thanks, Kostas. Okay, is John online?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Okay, I will report the planning what I would like to think for H and ILEs. So I plan to mainly focus on implementing two items. So the first item is to further improve the features of Control Plane Manager, what I implemented past months. So by far, the control plane monitoring part has been finished, but based on the monitored result, I would like to enhance the mastership management function with considering the control plane load. So enhancing mastership management can be done in either on-platform application or off-platform application. And as a first try, I would like to go with the off-platform application first. And in the release, I would like to implement the control plane auto-scaling feature. So with this feature, we can increase and decrease the number of controller based on the control plane load. And for provisioning a certain resource, I'm gonna use OpenStack to realize this part. And for the second item is I would like to do the least thousand support. So the Hummingbird release, I will implement the least protocol, which involves the encode and decode various least control messages, including map register, map notify, map request, map reply, and so on. And beside interpreting all the least control messages, I also would like to implement the feature that manage all the communication channel with the least routers. For iRelease, I would like to implement list provider. So with this, we can with this we can aggregate all the list control messages and push it to the core layer. And I also like to integrate this function with the flow objective. So with this, we can allow to specify the mapping information via our flow objective API. So by far, we only use the flow objective API to generate the open flow based message. But with enhanced version, hopefully I can also use this one to inject the mapping information to correlated list routers as well. So this is the thing what I plan to do, and that's it.
You also have another slide, right? This stop down?
Yes. Yeah. So this, so I already explained. So this is this southbound support. So it's mainly just for two parts. One is for implementing the list protocol, which is for interpreting all the list control messages. And second part is a list provider, and I would like to integrate this with existing flow objective subsystem of ONOS, so that with the flow objective API we can specify the certain mapping information of list to the list routers and so on. So that's it.
Okay, thanks, John.
Yep.
Okay, Srikanth.
Hi, Bill. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Okay. So for those who are not familiar with ACORD, maybe let me spend 2 minutes on a quick overview of it. The ACORD stands for Analytics for CORD, which is a unified monitoring framework inside CORD solution that enables real-time dynamic observability of various network elements inside the CORD. In the phase 1 of this platform, we have done the prototyping of the base ACORD platform using 2 data collection engines. One of them is Ceilometer, OpenStack Ceilometer, and the second one is the SFlow based data collection. We have done a couple of use cases on top of this platform to demonstrate the capabilities of this platform. One of the key important aspect of this platform is it enables you the infrastructure level monitoring and also the service level monitoring. So as you see in the picture on the right side, the ACORD platform retrieves the various probe data that is available in various network elements. It could be infrastructure, that is compute, storage, or fabric switches, or disaggregated I/O devices, or it could be the service VNFs that are running on top of that infrastructure. So the data can be fetched from any of these devices and stored in a time series database. And then in the northbound, this platform provides you two key interfaces. One is the query-based interface, which can be leveraged by the predictive analytics type of applications, and it provides you another interface called publish subscribe, which can be leveraged by the real-time analytics applications. So using these functionalities of this platform, we have developed or demonstrated multiple use cases in the phase 1 of this platform. One of them is XOS service aware auto scaling, where this application monitors the CPU utilization of various cloud resources for a given service, and whenever certain thresholds, either upper or lower threshold crosses, it takes necessary mitigation actions. Either it could be scaling up the resources or scaling down the resources. Similarly, we have done a couple of applications in the residential card where it correlates the data coming out of this platform to diagnose any problems corresponding to a particular residential card subscriber. You can find more information on these use cases in the resources that I'm giving in the right side of it. Another one is the S-flow based applications. Also, we were able to integrate using this platform, which can support you various S-flow based use cases. One of the interesting use case that we have done in the MCORD mobile card solution is autonomic DDoS detection using this platform, which will leverage the data collected by ACORD from various virtual EPC elements inside the MCORD. So again, you can find more data on these resources, or you can offline reach me for what we have done in the phase 1. The focus of right now is phase 2 of this platform. Sorry, I didn't intentionally map to the ONOS releases, because this platform is being driven inside the R card, residential card, and mobile card releases. So I don't know exactly how it fits into the ONOS releases. But this is at a high level what we are planning to do as part of phase 2 of this platform. We wanted to make this ACORD platform as scalable and also deployable in all the various card variants we have today: residential card, mobile card, and enterprise card. We are refactoring the architecture of ACORD such that it can fit in these card solutions. The second activity that we wanted to take, and it's a very, very key part of ACORD, is providing the adaptive instrumentation capabilities. What we meant by adaptive instrumentation capabilities are, there are two parts of it. The first part is we need to define various interfaces inside this ACORD that can enable the applications to enable, disable existing probes in the network elements on demand. So the applications, whenever they want to turn on some existing probes or turn off the probes. Similarly, the second part of this feature is if you don't have the probes inside the networks, then it should enable the applications to dynamically insert the probes in the network traffic path. For example, one example of this dynamic insert probe is, for example, you want to do a DPI type of deep inspection on certain traffic for subset of residential subscribers or mobile subscribers. And by default, we may not be having a very complex DPI engines enabled on any of the default network elements. In that case, application can enable a virtual probe containing this customized DPI engine, and using the ACORD interface, it can insert that probe inside in the traffic path and do deep inspection for a subset of the traffic and get some deeper insights. So this is a use case for this particular feature. Moving on, we wanted to integrate this ACORD platform with other southbound network elements that we have inside the card. Some of the examples are Metronome SmartNICs are coming into the MCORD, and we feel that there are a lot of useful probe data that can be retrieved from by the ACORD. Similarly, we wanted to integrate OpenFlow-enabled disaggregated OLT MAC chips, which will give you, again, more deeper insights in the residential network use cases. And also, as Jan was mentioning in the previous slide, we have some ONOS control plane metrics, which will provide you more insights on how the control plane related information that can be leveraged by the applications to do either scaling of the ONOS instances or to take any further and much more intelligent actions using those information. Finally, we are planning to define one new use case using this ACORD inside the MCORD solution, which will leverage the data coming out of the Metronome SmartNICs. And the use case is to detect the congestion inside for the MCORD VNFs and mitigate them by either spinning up more resources or redirecting certain traffic to underutilized links. It could be, I mean, we are in the process of defining that use case, so I don't have full details of it. Yeah, at a high level, these are the activities that we have, and from the community help, yeah, we need definitely, we are looking for this community help on all fronts. We are today a very, very limited development team, so we need your help. Yes, that's all I have.
Great, thank you very much, Shrikant. And so CORD is about to be announced as its own open source project in the middle of July, and so even though we've had CORD start as a use case on ONOS and we've been having it in our planning sessions here, it's about to split off, and I assume that we'll have our own planning sessions for CORD. So the only thing that we'll see here in the future for CORD will be those things that are directly related to ONOS. So thanks very much, Shrikant. Okay, Janway? Let's see, do we have... I do not see him. Okay, anyone want to talk about this slide? Okay, assume that's for the later session. And I believe that's it. Is there anything that anyone has added to the slide deck that we've gone past, or is there anybody who has additional comments or questions? Because if not, I think we're done with this session.
Hello, this is Mark Lefebvre from Noviso.
Yes?
Just an indication, I had not received the slide deck ahead of time. I think there was some confusion as to which meeting I was supposed to participate in. So I haven't received this information, and I'd like to do a proper response to it. So if you could send it to me, and then I'll prepare a more complete response, if that would be possible.
Sure, I can send you the information. So this presentation has a link in the calendar invite, and so anybody who's subscribed to the ONOS calendar can open the event and pull up the link to this presentation, and it has global edit capability, so anybody can edit it. But Mark, I'll be happy to send you the link to that.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. The only calendar invitation I had received was the one for the meeting that was canceled. So I did not receive the other calendar invitation. In fact, I got it in the CC that I got it was included in Bill's email reminder to me, but I had not received the original calendar invite. So I don't know if that's, it's something you could check out to see, just to make sure that that my address is included in the list.
Mark,
yeah.
Mark, if you look at the chat window of this conference, Brian has just posted a link to the presentation.
Sorry. Okay.
Also, so one other clarification is we don't send meeting invites. We expect people who are interested in ONOS calendar events to subscribe to the calendar and be able to monitor that calendar and see what events they want to attend.
Okay. So, okay, could you send me a note just letting me know where to go, and I'll subscribe to the calendar?
Yep.
Okay.
I will do that. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the next session for other time zones will be in a little bit over 6 hours at 4:00 p.m. Pacific time. So thank you, everyone, for attending today. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Yep. We'll see you later.
We'll talk to you later.